Welcome to the Low Tox Life podcast. I'm Alex Stewart, your host.
And my body was not tolerating that at all. And so really this idea that we've got to come back to what's happening in the body. We can't just be guided by our mind and what our mind wants to do when it comes to healing trauma. The body is what holds the trauma. And so the body is what needs to direct the pace and the how and the art and the science of the healing that is possible.
Welcome to long-time listeners, new listeners. A huge thank you for being here. Every time you take the time to leave a 5-star review, hit subscribe, hit follow. It's hard to explain the impact that has. It is hugely appreciated. Now, I appreciate someone else, and that is our guest today, Dr. Aimie Apigian. She is a double board certified physician, a trauma specialist, author of the upcoming book, The Biology of Trauma. But what I love especially is the strapline. Why? Listen to this. How the body holds fear, pain, and overwhelm, and how to heal it. I don't know about you, but I have read a stack of books on trauma in my research, and often you just hear very, very smart people talking about how much they know about trauma and its biology, and then what? You're left to the internet. So the fact that Aimie has included such practical steps to then move through to do the work to heal, you can feel the vulnerability in her own story. I do not want to waste another second. So after this podcast partner message, let's get into it. This show is possible every week thanks to our podcast partners and you, our listeners. And I want to introduce the Aussies who are listening to the Marker Sun Care product. It's the Bambino Kids Sunscreen, SPF 50, a huge 25% zinc oxide, which makes it extremely protective against both UVA and UVB rays. And it's reef safe, no nanoparticles, none of those dodgy, harsh preservatives that we see in the media time and again with mainstream sunscreens coming under fire. And you have 20% off for the month of August with the code LOWTOXLIFE. So I would definitely urge you to give this one a try, and Marker Sun Care literally has you covered. Yes, I went there. Aimie, hello. How are you?
I am so well, and I'm actually really excited for this conversation.
Me too. Your book is amazing. I'm just going to start there. You are amazing with how vulnerably you show up at the start of that book. And I'm going to jump right in there. There's a lot of people talking trauma. There's a lot of big male voices, shall I say, as well. And I was so thrilled to feel the feminine experience come through in your work, because we know that it's predominantly women who store the trauma, who bottle it up, who be the good girl. We don't punch the walls to let out the adrenaline. We just keep holding. And you discovered this firsthand happening to you. So let's start there.
And I'm so glad. Thank you for saying that. That actually means a lot to me, because I have navigated the trauma world personally and professionally, but personally, it started for me in my personal experience. And to feel this masculine energy of push through and do the deep dives and let's do it all. And my body was not tolerating that at all. And so really this idea that we've got to come back to what's happening in the body. We can't just be guided by our mind and what our mind wants to do when it comes to healing trauma. The body is what holds the trauma. And so the body is what needs to direct the pace and the how and the art and the science of the healing that is possible.
Human-centric care, really? And it's different for boys and girls? Are you sure? Yeah, of course it is. Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. So I was fascinated to learn that you were a foster parent.
This is how it all started for me.
Yeah, right. So tell us a bit about that.
It started me becoming a mom. That's exactly it. And as I look back at over all the people now that I've helped, so many of them come to me at that point in their life where when it's just themselves, they're like, oh, I can do it okay. I'm functioning okay. But then when they have children, they're like, this is going to impact my child. I don't want my stuff to be passed on.
Yeah.
For me, it was different because I was coming out of just finishing my master's in biochemistry. I had a few months free before I was going back into third year of medical school at Loma Linda University. And I'm like, what do I do with my time? And I have always wanted to make a difference in the world. So I decided to become a foster parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I go through all of the hoops that, my goodness, they have you go through. So by the time the phone call actually came, I was already back in third year medical school, internal medicine rotation to be specific.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember the phone call. I remember the phone call. Social worker Rosa called me and she says, Aimie, we have a 4-year-old boy and he needs a home. That's all she had to say. I was a solid yes. Of course, as more details came out, he had been in the foster care system since age 9 months
Oh, little
and had
Baba.
had a lot of neglect. His mother was on substances, but when he came into the system, they found that he had a collarbone fracture that had never been treated medically. We think that he fell off of the bed at some point
Mm,
and would have been in pain, would have cried, and no one would have taken care of him. So, trauma.
mm,
He had experienced trauma early on in the form of not being seen, not being taken
mm.
care of, not being heard, that I'm in pain, along with all the other things that we can only imagine would have happened if that happened, could happen, that
Yeah.
he
And
had
then
a broken bone and not treated.
in America, you've got the added layer of I am too scared to go to ER with this baby that I know something's wrong with because either, like I won't be able to afford the bill. Like you could take a baby to ER in Australia and there is no bill. In America, it's a very different story. And I think, that system then works against care. Literally, we're too scared to care because there's a price tag on it.
Well, and when we look at how our social systems are designed,
Mm,
there's quite a bit in every social system around the world that can actually promote trauma,
yeah.
not be one that creates safety
Mm.
and resources and community for people.
Yeah. Oh,
And
preaching to the choir. I honestly, like, people are fighting about all sorts of crazy stuff on the internet. And I'm like, you do realize this is all a distraction, stopping us from actually building community, which is the single most important thing we can do to not have to get polarized in the first place because we're connected
this is,
and
you are
safe.
speaking truth.
Mm,
And here's what I learned about trauma, because at some point I realized that I really didn't understand anything about trauma. I
mm,
thought I had known, I didn't actually know much at all. And what I found when I dove deep into studying it was that actually what makes something be a trauma and not just a stress, what makes us cross that line
mm,
into this was a trauma that will impact my whole body down to my cellular level and my nucleus and my DNA.
mm.
It's the fact that we're alone. We feel alone. That's what makes a difference. When we look at people who are in some type of band or group, they can go through horrible things and not walk away traumatized because they felt like they had their band of brothers or their, circle of girlfriends. It's the
Mm.
idea that what we go through, we feel all alone. That's what makes something be a trauma. And when we look at that on a social level, then, just like you say, everything else is actually a distraction from the community that would best serve us and our best health.
Mm. And the thing is, when you feel safe, you can then serve that community. Like it works always.
It really does. And
Mm,
what I got into was this place where I was giving from a place of depletion. I
mm,
had an empty cup. I had nothing to give. And yet, what would I do every day when I woke up? I would give some more. I would
mm,
dig deeper and give some more. Oh, I feel tired. Well, let me drink some caffeine so that I feel energy and so I can give some more. It was crazy to realize how much I was giving from a place of feeling depleted. No wonder
mm,
there was nothing left for me. No wonder my own body eventually said, no more. You're not listening. You've abandoned me. I feel all alone, and
mm.
I've got to shut down in order to get your attention.
Yeah, wow. So let's come back to the little boy and you saying yes. Was that already Amy giving from a place where you maybe didn't have much to give as a third year medical student?
100%. I was a
Mm,
single mom
mm.
in medical school.
Yeah. I know how hard you guys worked through that. That's just,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes. And looking back, it definitely came from my own trauma patterns.
Okay.
And like everything in life, even when we make decisions that come from a trauma place, they can serve us and it can bring us to our best life and our best self if we're open to the lessons and the direction. And
Mm-hmm.
so for Miguel, he was with me for 6 years. And my decision to adopt came from that place of, I know I'm not the best choice of a mom for you, but I'm looking around and I don't see any other way you're going to get out of this foster care system.
Mm.
I didn't know how I was going to do it. He was already very, very manifesting a lot of symptoms of his stored trauma, a lot of anger, a lot of rage. Yeah. I did not know how I was going to do it. And yet, when I looked around and saw that if I did not adopt him, he was going to stay in a system that was only further traumatizing him.
Mm.
By the time he came to me at 4, he had already been moved over 20 times.
Oh my goodness.
I I knew that I wasn't the best choice, but I saw that I was his best chance. So not having answers, not knowing how I was going to do this, I made that commitment. And with that commitment came the commitment to not just get him out of the system, not just do the bare minimum to get him out of the system, but to actually do my best to find the pieces that he needed for his healing.
Mm.
And it took a long time. And I went through a lot. He went through a lot in order to get to that place. At one point, not too long after I adopted him, he was talking of killing me, was trying to kill me. There were even allegations that he would make to the police and the fire station about how I was abusing him, or would tell my family, my own mother, that I was starving him. And I would look at him and be like, how does this come from such a little boy? How does he even know
Mm.
what to say? But it would hurt. I mean, those
Oh.
were daggers to my heart to see how much I was trying
Mm.
and it wasn't working. It made me very scared for the future, very scared for his future, scared for my future. And I got to the point where I had exhausted all of the resources that I knew, being at a medical school campus, having some of the best child psychiatrists and therapists right there at my disposal. And yet, the traditional therapies, the evidence based therapies, mind you, were actually seeming to make him and his behaviors worse. And that was where I was like, you know what? Up until now, I've been the good girl. I've been the good medical student. Everything has to be evidence-based. Everything has to be by the book, and only the, confirmed and proven
Mm.
protocols.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're a mom and those aren't working, and I'm going to say those are actually making things worse, you become willing to do things outside of the box that you would not
100%.
otherwise do.
Yeah.
And for this, I am so grateful for
Mm.
him and this experience because it allowed me to get out of that confined box of I just need to be the good physician, just need to be the good girl, to let me find what really works. Let me really understand what's happening here so that I know what to do. Because if I don't figure this out, his life is in danger. He's not only going to spend the rest of his life miserable, he'll likely be in jail
Mm.
or on substances himself. Like, I cannot let him continue down this path without doing my best to try to find solutions.
Yeah,
But
wow.
right then, as you can see, and I know that many parents have had this experience being foster or adoptive parents, you exhaust yourself
Mm.
because it's exhausting. You are pouring yourself out for someone else who has the appearance that they don't care anything about you and
Mm.
they'd prefer that you not even be alive. And how do you do that every day? That's the unsung heroism of
Mm.
the many of the foster adoptive parents around the world and what they go through.
And I would imagine, given conventional medicine avenues are all we often get given, especially if you're in a system where the system has to do things by the book, then you can end up with these situations where, um, like incarceration and substance abuse are just, that's what's going to happen. And it'll be another tragic story. What inside you made you think, was it the fact, do you think it was, I'm a mum and there just has to be some other toolkit that I don't know about yet? Like, do you think it's as simple as that, just that parent drive to find something else?
Perhaps, and yet I
Well, I
think it
think the
was
word
also
simple
something
is actually
deeper.
probably the wrong word to use there, but um, yeah, it is.
Because I will share that it was about that time
Okay.
that I started realizing that there were elements of him in me. No, I was not going around talking about wanting to kill people. That is not
Mm.
what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I realized that, wait a second, I think I guard my heart too. I think that I'm actually afraid of being fully seen, fully known, fully loved, because I don't think that I'm lovable. And so I had started to see myself in him, and I wanted answers for myself. I wanted to also know, how do I create a different life for myself where I'm not hiding behind this mask? I'm not hiding behind this smile and saying, everything is great. Thanks for asking. When inside, I feel like I'm falling apart. I feel all alone. I feel overwhelmed, but I don't feel safe enough to let you see that.
Hmm. And where did that come from for you?
Ah, I was raised by a father who was adopted.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
My grandparents came over from Armenia after the Death March,
Mm.
and they had experienced a lot. They had seen a lot. They had a lot of trauma. And when they came over from Armenia, they happened to get the boat that landed in San Francisco. They decided to leave everything behind. I mean, they no longer spoke Armenian, they only spoke English, but they had been through so much trauma that their bodies were not able to have children. They were infertile. So they decided to adopt. And so they adopted my father. My father was born to a teenage mother who was not supposed to be pregnant, especially at that time of the world. And so when it came out that she was pregnant, she was sent away to summer camp
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and was forced to adopt out her son. I don't think she even saw him once he was born. That's how they did things back then.
Mm.
So, a lot of trauma in my family, a lot of generational trauma. And this gets passed down. I'm sure one of the things we're going to talk about is it gets passed down in our biology, but it
Yeah.
also gets passed down in some of our insecurities.
Mm.
And for me, one of those insecurities that I received from my father was this idea that I don't feel wanted. I don't feel loved. I don't feel like I'm lovable. And so, knowing that I'm not lovable, I know that as soon as you actually get to know me, you're going to reject me and abandon me too. So, I'm going to I'm going to pretend. I'm going to get the good grades. I'm going to be the good girl. so that you'll know just that side of Aimie and not the real Aimie, not the other parts of Aimie that are unlovable that would allow you to reject her.
It's heartbreaking, Aimie. And it's especially heartbreaking because I have a story like that. People, like so many people, are actually secretly going around hiding bits of ourselves because they're unlovable.
And
What a waste. What
what
a
I had to come to
waste.
realize is that that's trauma that our body's
Mm,
holding on to. I looked back at my childhood. There was nothing like what Miguel went through. And
mm.
so compared, right? Here's this
And
comparison
then
that
you
we do.
compare so you don't think you deserve to feel traumatized or,
Exactly. Or even
yeah.
use that word.
Mm,
And but yet then when my body started showing all of the signs of stored trauma, that's when I had to redefine what trauma actually is and recognize that if I feel unlovable, my body's holding trauma. That
mm,
is a sign of stored trauma. I don't need to dig any further. I don't need to analyze it anymore. For right now, I just can be like, huh, isn't that interesting? I didn't think that I had trauma, but I do seem to have this core belief that I'm not wanted or I'm not heard, I'm not understood, I'm not lovable. These are all core beliefs that most people have one or more. And it's trauma that the body is storing that creates these patterns.
mm. And so, what was the journey like where you actually started to find a way through both of your traumas? Did Miguel stay with you?
We got to the point where he was so aggressive with his behaviors that I put him in a boarding school
Hmm.
to try to continue to work things out. And during that process was when I finally found the last piece that he needed. So, what I had to learn for Miguel was I needed to become a different person for him.
Hmm.
I couldn't show up in my trauma self and be the person that helped him heal. I had to do my own inner healing. I had to become the parent who created the safety for him to be able to show me all that ugliness that he had been through.
Mm.
I needed to be so strong in his eyes that he knew I could handle the big monsters that he felt were inside of him.
Hmm. Wow. You need to be strong enough for your kid to be able to show their monsters. That's a big one.
And a lot of parents aren't.
Mm,
And I did it wrong at the beginning. I thought that what he needed was a friend, right? I needed to get down on his level. I needed to show him that I cared for him. And the way that I did that was to be a friend for him.
mm,
Did it all wrong. For kids who have been through that kind of trauma, what they need to heal is an adult to show up in their life who has so much capacity to hold the space for them and to show them, I'm not scared of those memories that you hold inside. I'm not scared even of your big emotions. And they will show you big emotions and they will test you. They will test you a little bit, see how you handle it. Oh, well, she handled that okay. All right, well, let me give her the big one.
mm,
And when I could maintain my calm, when I could maintain my inner peace, my inner safety, when I could talk him through what was happening inside of him, he became so trusting of me that I became his safe place. And so rather than running away from me when he had a big feeling, because he didn't want me to see it, he would come to me now and say, this is bigger than what I can handle. Great.
And how did you influence a redirection of the emotions? Because you said he was, threatening you, threatening himself. how did you like show him the path for big emotions to happen that don't have to mean a fight dynamic with either oneself or with your carer? Because that's like, please share that one. There are teen parents all over the world that want to know this one.
The secret is to be so comfortable and confident in yourself
Hmm.
that it doesn't bother you. You don't take it personal. And that right there is why I had to become a different version of myself,
Hmm.
because the younger version of myself or the trauma version of Aimie was taking everything personal. Oh, you
Yeah.
told me you wanted to kill me. Oh, that hurts. Oh,
Mm.
I'm so devastated. Rather than being like, kid, sometimes I can understand why you would feel that way. And he's like, what? You're not going to get mad at me? Like,
Hmm.
I can understand that that's how you feel sometimes. And he could see now that it wasn't bothering me.
Wow. And we're all very curious to know at this point, how did you do it for yourself?
This was
What
a
was your
huge shift for
journey?
me. This was a
Yeah.
huge shift for me. And not many people ask me about this. So thank you for actually allowing me to share this.
If a healthy home is your priority right now, then Oz Climate, our major podcast partner, without whom we could not put this show on every week, has got you covered with 10% off for Aussies. Code LowToxLife. Dehumidifying is a particular passion of mine because it helps us prevent moisture, excess humidity, and of course, therefore, mold in our indoor environments. Of course, if you ever have a leak or a flood, contact a mold technician or a building biologist. But for everyday living, you would be surprised the impact that good dehumidification can make in your indoor environment. I've done a ton of reels on this to help you know how long, what size of unit, how many units, different floor plans. Everything's there on my Instagram at LowToxLife, and you'll see all the white background tiles are part of a humidity literacy series. I hope it helps you. Head to ozclimate.com.au. They have heating and cooling solutions, amazing dehumidifiers, and their Winix air purifier range.
What I had to do was I had to imagine myself becoming the queen.
Mm-hmm.
This is not how I had ever seen myself. I was the one who had always wanted to be invisible, the quiet one. I didn't want attention drawn to me at all. And so when I saw that I had to become a different version of myself for him, that was probably the only reason why I would have done this inner work, to be able to stand up tall, shoulders back. I am standing in my power. I am taking up space and I'm not apologizing for it. I had always apologized for taking up space. Oh, I'm so sorry. Am I in your way? Oh, I'm so sorry. Am I not welcome here? It
Mm.
was it was my default. Those were how my trauma patterns are showing up. And to recognize that that's he's not going to heal if that's how he experiences me. Because he's looking to see, am I strong enough for his monsters? And
And is
so
that, have you found that that's every child growing up? Um,
every child with trauma. I don't
okay.
know about regular kids. Don't ask
Yeah.
me about regular
It's
kids.
not kind of not your specialty.
But what I did is that after I learned all of this parenting,
Mm.
I saw what a difference it made for him. There were still a few other pieces that needed to be put into place, but it made the biggest difference the fastest. And so I started a nonprofit in 2011 teaching other families, adoptive families, foster parents, how to do this type of be a different version of yourself.
Mm.
And I would bring the whole family in for a weekend. We would do Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday. By Sunday evening, the whole family dynamic was completely different. And the
Wow.
kids were now looking to their parents as they are my best allies. They're not
Mm.
my enemy. They're my best allies. They are the best thing that will help me survive. They're not actually against me. And and so this is what works for kids who've been through trauma, who now have attachment and trust issues.
Hmm.
I can't speak to regular kids because I've never had a regular kid.
Yeah.
But from working with adopted kids from all over the world, I mean, I worked with kids from China, from the Ukraine, from Guatemala, some of these countries that have I would just say the way that they run their orphanages
Hmm.
are generating a lot of developmental and attachment trauma in those children, and they come and they are, I mean, the parents don't know what they're getting into sometimes, and it's
Mm.
heartbreaking to see parents go through the same thing that I did, which was you're pouring your heart, your money, your time into these children, and they don't like you. They don't care for you. They wish that you didn't exist. And
Mm.
so there's different degrees of it, but any child who has trust issues, attachment trauma, and trust issues, that is what they need to be able to trust. Before we love someone, we actually need to trust them. It's part of the developmental sequence that we've learned. And when we look at that attachment trauma, that's what it disrupts. It disrupts our ability to trust other people, trust that they have our good in mind, trust that
Mm.
they won't hurt us. And that's where all of the guarding and the hiding and the masking then comes from, that place of, I can't trust you to not hurt me. And so
And
trust is what needs to be repaired.
trust needs to be repaired, but in your case, you found that you had trust issues of your own.
Absolutely.
Do you think in the work that you've done, I mean, given you've now written a whole book on it, most of us do have uncovered trust issues?
100%.
Yeah.
I look at the statistics that say, like, oh, only 40% of people have an insecure attachment. And I'm like, what people are you looking at? Because the people that I see, 100% have some degree of
Mm.
attachment insecurity, which means trust issues.
Wow. Okay. So, where do we start exploring whether we might have our own trust issues as adults, as parents? What are some of the things that could be showing up in our lives as patterns that we have not even recognized yet?
And this is where I'm going to start saying some crazy stuff that some people may never have heard.
Well, you're double board certified, Amy. You're doing enough to kind of still be a good girl while also exploring the bigger picture of some of the stuff we just find really hard to understand.
Yes, yes. And it doesn't need to be confusing. And I love being able to break it down. And because I am a physician, I am
Mm.
going to go to the health issues.
Mm.
We can find these patterns in all areas of our life. We can see it in our how we run our daily life, what we do to function, or what we do to hide and not grow and to stay small. We can see it in our relationships. How do I interact when things get uncomfortable in a relationship? Do I cling? Do I escape? Those are key places to look for patterns that may not be healthy.
Hmm.
But where I'd like to take people is how it shows up in their body. We have really forgotten the body,
Mm.
and we live so much in our mind, meaning we love to study, we love to learn, we love to analyze. That's why we go to talk therapy, because we love to be in our head. Don't ask me to actually feel my body.
Mm.
And that's where things get stored. And so, if we neglect that, if we don't repair the body, it will show up as physical health conditions. A lot of this can be digestive issues. The digestive system is driven by the nervous system, and the nervous system is what gets disrupted as it holds on to survival patterns. And so, digestive issues, and there's all kinds of digestive issues, everything from acid reflux to the bloating to the IBS to other forms of digestive issues, the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or just the microbiome imbalance. There are so many, but that's it. For each person, your body will demonstrate, hey, I'm struggling to stay balanced and healthy, because
Mm.
that's how our body is naturally intended to be. But I want to bring people's attention to things that they may not have connected with trauma, but specifically attachment trust issues. And that is a flare up of chronic pain. Many people will have neck pain or they'll have back pain, and it'll be fine sometimes and not fine other times. And every single person who throws out their back, they
Mm-hmm.
will say, "Oh, I moved in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Oh, I picked this heavy thing up." And I'm like, actually, no, there was something already happening that when you did that, it just resulted in that. But there was already something there. And that something is this micro inflammation that happens as a result of changes in the blood flow to those muscles. Our back, our neck, they are built around our spine. Our spine is our structure. And that's what collapses from trust issues in our early years.
Mm.
And so people don't realize that every time that they throw out their neck or their back and they have back pain or neck pain, actually, they should be asking, we want them to be asking, what is going on in my life right now that has me so afraid?
Wow. So you're telling me and us that every person that sits in your chair in your doctor's office who's complaining of their pain and they want to go on XYZ stronger painkillers or see a specialist or get a surgery, all the things, when you ask them what is going on around trust, why don't you feel safe? They always kind of end up with a really obvious answer that they hadn't connected to pain.
Always,
Always,
always, always,
100% of cases.
100%. And it isn't just like oh, well, this thing has been, bothering me. When we really dig into it, it's at a level that they feel is compromising the core of who they are and are they going to be okay in life. I
Hmm.
remember one patient, Patricia, and when I asked her, "What's really going on in your life?" She's like, "My mother passed away 5 months ago. I still don't know how I'm going to live life without my mother. We were that close. We were the best of friends." So it's this element of, I don't know if I'm going to be okay. For
Hmm.
some people, it's financial. They
Hmm.
have some financial situation happening in their life, but that's where it takes them. I don't know if I'm going to be okay. Or maybe it's a relationship, their partner, their kids. But there's always something where when we get to the root of it, they say that same thing. I don't know yet if I'm going to be okay.
Wow.
And that's trauma.
And so that is, I don't know if I'm going to be okay, pain. Digestive felt more like you were pointing us towards trust.
So the digestive system is, the digestive system holds all emotions.
Mm.
It holds our terror. It holds our fear. It holds our grief. I see a lot of grief held in people's digestive systems. And even though they may feel it in their heart can feel heavy, like it's sinking. It's actually a whole body response to be in grief and not grieving and moving through grief like we were designed to do, but just stuck in grief.
Mm.
And our gut holds all of that. But there's even this element that we can have parts of us, and we can have that young part of us, the young part of Miguel that was laying on the floor with a broken bone and no one was listening to his cries. There's that young part of us that had a moment when we didn't know if we were going to be okay. And often when I work with people, they feel that they can get in touch with that young part of themselves in their upper stomach.
Hmm.
Right beneath, right where their ribs come together, there's a window right there. It's above their belly button. And that's where they will tell me, "Oh, this is the place where I feel the knife twist with fear when that thing happened, when I got that phone call, when I read that text message. I felt the knife twist." And that's where I felt it. I'm like, well, that's a way of your young part saying, we're going back all the way to age 3 when we felt this. We're going all the way back to age 7, to age 12, whatever it was for that person,
Mm.
where something happened, whether it was a really bad thing or not, but I felt all alone and I didn't know if I was going to be okay. And so it's like their way of showing up to say, I don't like this. This feels familiar. And we should be in fear mode.
Hmm. Wow. And how do we is there a safe and gentle way to unpack some of these things ourselves? Like, let's just say, person on the internet hears this interview, thinks, I'm going to get Amy's book. It sounds good. Starts reading. And if you have started to uncover some traumas, is there a more gentle or safe way that we can explore that on our own, or is it best to be with a clinician ideally as you start unpacking things and talking a bit more? A loved one, is that enough? Like, can you paint a picture of what that step looks like? Because I'm picturing people listening to this and thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be okay. Oh my gosh, that's my back pain. Whoa. And so, what do we do then?
Yeah. I start my book with the story of Elena, and she's in the middle of a car accident. And 1 year after that accident, she gets diagnosed with autoimmunity. She thought it had come out of the blue. I got to tell her it did not come out of the blue.
Mm.
It's actually been building underneath the surface for a few decades. But her idea was, well, then let me unpack all of my childhood trauma right here, right
Mm.
now. And I'm like,
Hmm.
actually,
Maybe
there's a
not such
better
a great
way.
idea. Yeah. Whoa, back. Okay.
And I think that people have been afraid to unpack their trauma, and I'm glad that they are. I want them to have a healthy respect for their trauma.
Hmm.
I would want them instead to say, let me just do one thread at a time. Because one of the triggers for our trauma response is too much too fast. And I see so many people do too much too fast in therapy.
Mm.
They go in too much too fast. They go deep too fast. And they end up, like what was happening to me and Miguel, re traumatizing their body. And speaking of trust, every single time that we put our body through too much, our body starts to not trust us. And so then as we come to this whole like mind body connection and let me start feeling my feelings and let me start connecting with my body, our body's going to be like, "Oh no, I don't trust you anymore. You've abandoned me, you've neglected me for years, and you've been the one to re-traumatize me by taking me to those places and asking me to feel and to surface all of this stuff when we weren't ready for it." So much of my book is coming back to this idea of the body does heal itself. And we can follow the science, we can follow the principles, we can follow this roadmap that says, and here's what the body needs. The body needs to start with a sense of safety. Just like Miguel, surprise, surprise, this is the science of trauma. The body needs to feel safe to let something surface, to let something go. And even when we look at the relationship between trauma and toxins held by the body won't release toxins until it feels safe to do so, until it feels resourced, that it has all of the nutrients and all of the minerals that it needs. And then it can say, you're right. We don't need this mercury anymore. We don't need this parasite anymore. We don't need this anymore. But until then, the body is like, are you kidding me? This is how I've survived. I don't know how to do life if not this way. So we've actually got to show it a different way, and that this other way will be safe in order for it to make some change. And so it's not an overnight process. It's actually
Mm.
slowly working on step number one is shifting our inner state. So our nervous system has 3 different operating states or modes. And when we recognize that we are in fear mode, we need to learn that skill of shifting to calm and alive mode. And the more times that we shift that, and we're going to need to learn how to shift that quite a lot because we're in fear mode quite a lot. But the more
Mm.
times that we do that, it's the repetition that builds those neural pathways that say, oh, yeah, I know how to get back home to feeling safe. Oh, yeah, I know the path back out of this fear mode into feeling calm and connected and creative. But until then, our brain doesn't even know that. It's so foreign. And here's a really important concept that I want people to know. Foreign feels dangerous for the body. Familiar feels safe for the body. But what if that familiar is unhealthy, Dr. Aimie? What if the familiar is the abused wife? What if the familiar is the drama and the stress? Guess what? Because it's familiar, it's what feels safe.
Mm.
And so we have to create through repetition these other states, these other moments. I call it microdosing safety. We have to
Mm.
microdose safety because at first, safety won't feel safe because it feels foreign.
Mm.
We won't know what to do with it, and our body will shift us back into fear mode. And so just this idea of this is where we start. We start with learning how to recognize, oh, I'm back in fear mode. Oh, here's that negative self-talk that I do when I'm in fear mode. Oh, here's that distrust. Here's my pattern response to go to emotional eating or to binge watch movies or to scroll on social media because I don't want to actually be present to my reality. Let me take this moment right here in the moment and shift my inner state. So this is the work that no
Mm.
therapist can do for you.
Yeah.
This is the work that is every single person's work to do for themselves.
Mm.
No one can do this work for you.
And Amy, do you propose that it's almost like do we say a series of things to ourselves? Like if I have just realized I feel, oh, that fear feeling, it's coming up, and I've tried to distract myself and I've tried to remove myself from my reality, like you just said. What is is it a ritual that I then go, I am safe, I am loved, I am here, there is no lion trying to chase me, we're all good. What does it look like?
I have a quick question for you.
Hmm.
The last time that you told yourself to calm down, did it help yourself to calm down? Of
Sorry, just laughing because of course not.
course not.
No, I have a
No.
situation where my gorgeous boy who adores tennis, he's nearly 16, every now and then he just has a massive meltdown and huge bravado on court and throwing his racket and I just and it's not that I'm embarrassed about him. I'm worried for him because he doesn't want to do that. And then I say, well, you can't throw your racket like that. You can't swear. And I am not calm at that point. And I try to calm down and I do not calm down. So let's just use me as a guinea pig because that's my current, like, oh, how can I help him? It's not working. I mean, and again, do you know what I just said to myself? I said, this woman has been to hell and back, and here I am with a cutesy little tennis story. How dare I bring this up right now? Which is exactly what you were talking about before.
Exactly what we're
I'm
talking
just
about.
running my
Here's
own therapy
here,
session
right?
right now.
This is great. These are the insights that we get to start to have where we're like, oh, maybe I actually have more stored trauma than I thought.
Mm.
Maybe I actually go to comparison more than I realized.
Hmm.
Maybe I try to use my brain and my thoughts more than connect with my body, more than I thought.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. And and I want people to hear this, to recognize that this is how we've lived life. I celebrate that. Why? Because it's what's allowed you to live life. It's what allowed you to survive. We would not have survived our childhood if we had not learned how to be in our heads.
Mm.
So are we going to beat ourselves up now that we're in our heads? No. What would be the point of that? The point is to recognize, wow, I'm in my head more than what I realized. Is this the way that I want to live the rest of my life? No. Okay, so I'm going to make some changes. But you know what? It has helped me survive life up until this point. So I want to thank my body. I want to thank my mind for doing what it had to do to survive.
Mm.
And now we can choose a different way.
Oh, that's so powerful because especially women, and I know we have some low tox dudes who listen as well, and hello, but as a woman, I just know chicks, I know my friends, we instantly think, oh God, I've been an idiot, and I've been doing it all the wrong way, and it's my fault that you just straight away go to this place of guilt and shame, which partly societal, of course, be a good girl, be quiet, get on with it, don't complain, and don't make a fuss, but also partly how sad, really.
And this is how we end up creating more trauma for our body. Every
Mm,
time that we shame ourselves, our body
mm,
goes into that, oh, you're right, I'm terrible. And it goes into a biology of trauma.
hmm,
So it's no longer just what happened in our past. It's what we continue to do to ourselves every day. And this is why we get sick. This is why Elena got the autoimmunity a year after her car accident. It's not
mm.
because of only what happened in her past. It's what started things, but then we perpetuate it. We repeat the same things over and over again, putting
Yeah,
ourselves into that shame place.
mm,
Shame is a trauma biology.
yeah. Okay, so what do we do next?
Okay, so what do we do next? Well, now that we know that we're not just going to tell ourselves to
We're
calm
not
down,
just going to tell
we've
ourselves to
covered
calm
that.
down. Yeah.
This is where we actually need to create a new experience for our body in the moment. So, if you're okay with it, I'm just going to invite you to do something in order
Mm,
to
let's
experience
do
it.
it.
Do you have any kind of a pillow, blanket, sweater, or a purse or anything around you that you can grab?
My scarf.
Perfect. And I want you to put it over your belly. So,
Hmm.
wrap it up, hold it across just in front of your belly. It doesn't matter where. Ah, I love that. I wish you could see yourself really like the changes that are happening in your face.
It's like a
So
little cuddle.
it's like a little cuddle.
Mm.
Can you describe for me and the listeners what are you noticing happening inside of your body right now? What's
It
what's changing?
feels like I've like the sentence that's coming into my mind is it feels like I've given myself what I need. That's like literally just what popped
I
out.
love
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
Love that. Let's just stay there for one moment. I'm giving myself what I need. I have everything I need. Oh, I get a deep breath with that. We've shifted out of the fear mode, which would tell us, I don't have everything that I need.
Mm.
And you've just created the experience of, I feel like I have everything I need, and I'm giving myself what I need.
Wow. So that little technique, Amy, of
Isn't
just
that
grabbing something
crazy?
and putting it on your tummy.
Isn't that crazy?
Hmm. And interestingly, when I fill up the hot water bottle for winter, that's my low energy strategy, and I just love them. I always start by putting it on my belly, always.
And I would want you to do that. And here is
Mm,
why. Here's the science behind this. Our stomach is actually a very vulnerable place in our body where it can get hurt. And if it
mm,
gets hurt, we die, right? Like
yeah.
if we get eviscerated, we're going to die. So our gut is not protected by bones like our back is or our heart is. Our heart is all surrounded by bones,
Mm,
but our gut is not. So it's a vulnerable place. So just being able to say, I've got you, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to provide you protection so that you don't have to protect yourself. I've got you.
Mm.
It's crazy to see how quickly the body responds to this kind of support, to this kind of connection. But I want you to contrast what you just did and how things go when you tell yourself to calm down.
Completely differently.
Completely different because
Yeah.
we're
There's
not
a
trying to use our
resistance, there's a fight,
exactly,
there's a
exactly. Yes.
friction.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here we just come
Mm.
in and we're like, I gotcha. I
Mm.
gotcha. I got you.
And
I'm
so
here.
you say the science, so it's actually about placing something over our body's least covered place
Oh yeah.
kind of thing.
And
Yeah.
this is what I teach in my book. Like there is a
Mm.
science. Once
Mm.
you understand your body's anatomy, you'll know where to provide certain types of connection. Next
Mm.
place that I'll take you in our next podcast episode is the neck. I can
Mm-hmm.
hardly wait until you experience the neck and what happens
Okay.
with the neck,
All
because the
right.
neck is all about our attachment.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a key place. I keep a weighted neck scarf right here on my desk for when I start to go into that fear mode, and I wrap it around my neck and my neck gets that support that says, I got you. I got you.
Mm.
Everything's going to be okay. I don't know how, but I do know that we will be okay. I got you. So, understanding our nervous system, understanding the
Mm.
anatomy of our nervous system, understanding how our body works is the key to understanding how do we create that inner safety that we need to then open up. Because our body will not open up and release and process and repair trauma until we create the safety to do so.
Wow. And as I think about those two things you've just shown us, this on the belly makes me feel like it's like a hug, or you know how a child comes and lies on you.
Yes.
And then when you put the weighted neck scarf over, that made me think of like when someone's being chivalrous and puts the warm coat over someone who looks cold, and just that safety, that I got you kind of moment. And we basically we can now simulate that for ourselves.
Absolutely. And we
Yeah.
need to.
Mm.
Mhm. And this is what we need to learn how to do for ourselves all throughout the day.
Mm.
Imagine if you only did this once a week in a therapy session, but the
Yeah.
rest of the week you're living in fear mode.
Mm.
This isn't going to create the neuroplastic changes that we need our body and our brain to do in order to start living a different way.
I founded Low Tox Life in 2009, and as the community grew, I started to identify areas that people needed structured learning. And that is when the first e-course, Go Low Tox, was born in 2014. Since then, I've worked with scientists and health professionals to bring you low-cost courses to help you shortcut your goals with whatever you're challenged by right now. So whether you're new to going low tox and you'd love a framework and some really helpful suggestions across 22 different topics covering everyday life, or maybe you're working on an inflammation picture and you just want some help to calm the farm, whether you're on a fertility journey, either having trouble or wanting to optimize, we literally have courses for these and more. Head to lowtoxlife.com, hit the course tab, and enjoy.
So it's fascinating that so many people just don't realize that trauma healing is actually involving neuroplasticity. We actually have to form new neural patterns of how to live differently. And this is why it's more important what we do on a daily basis than what we do once a week in therapy.
Yeah,
What we do every day is going to make a bigger difference than what we do once a week in therapy.
that's huge. And you're not discounting therapy by any means.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm just putting it into its proper perspective for people who think that that's the only thing that they should
Mm.
do.
It's like
Because actually,
this is the homework, the muscle building piece, where the
yes,
physio sends you home, but you still got your work to do every day.
exactly. That's a perfect example of this idea that you still need to go into the gym every day and do your exercises. And then you meet with your coach once a week.
Mm.
and they be able to guide you and help you and restabilize you and encourage you. But they're not showing up to the gym every single day that you do a workout. That's on you. They're not showing up in your kitchen and being like, you're not supposed to eat that when you're on this exercise regime. You
Yeah.
you got to do that piece on your own. But when I look at the big picture, I'm seeing that what we do on a daily basis holds more weight than what we do once a week, simply because we're forming every day new neural pathways. And are we creating more of the same pathways and reinforcing that? No, I go to fear, I go to food, I go to avoidance, distraction, numbing, stuffing, packing my trauma well. That's what I continue to do every single day. Or is what I'm doing shifting my inner state to one of safety, shifting my inner state to where I'm like, oh, I'm creating that feeling that I've got everything I need right here, right now. Let me just look out the window while I'm experiencing what it feels like to have everything I need right here, right now. No, all of my problems haven't gone away. I'm not avoiding them. I'm able to create a safe enough feeling right here, right now. And the more times that I can do that for myself throughout the day, the more that my body is going to rewire itself for living from a place of safety and not still from a place of fear. This is why I have all of my what I call somatic tools, right? The
Mm.
soma meaning the body. So I've got all of these tools for my body to create these experiences for my body around me so that while I'm working, I can be still creating that feeling of safety. I don't have to stop what I'm doing to say, okay, now I need to attend to my body. If
Yeah.
I can do it at the same time, or if I'm doing a podcast interview and someone says something that's like, oh, that triggered a little bit, I'm not going to put my trigger on them. I'm going to be like, I can take care of myself and I'm taking care of myself. And they don't even realize necessarily what happened inside of me because I'm creating that. I got you.
Mm.
I see you, I hear you, I see and I hear that posts something, and we're going to come back to it later. Right now is not the right time because we're being interviewed on a podcast, but I can take care of myself and create the experience of that. It's not just the words.
Mm.
It's not just the thoughts. Our inner state actually creates our thoughts. And so when I recognize that I'm having that comparison or perfectionism or self-critical thought, I'm not still focusing on the thought. I'm going inner, being like, whoa, whoa, look at me. I'm a bit in a place of fear right now. Aimie, what's really going on? Where do you really feel that there's an area of your life that you may not be okay? I don't chase the thought and be like, oh, the thought needs to change. No, my inner state needs to change.
Mm.
And to change, it needs a different experience. It needs to know that it will be okay. It needs to know that I hear it, I see it. I've got it. I've got
Yeah.
you now.
Aimie, is there a certain amount of fake it till you make it as someone starts these practices? Like, and by that I
Great.
mean, like, could you be saying to yourself, okay, I'm saying that I'm feeling safe. I got the hot water bottle or the scarf on my tummy. I still don't feel safe, but I got you. Like, is there a point at the very beginning where you will honestly just not quite feel like you got yourself yet, but you've just started telling yourself that you've got yourself?
I'm going to take you back
Mm-hmm.
to when I was a mom holding Miguel in a rocking chair, and he would tell me, I hate you. I'm going to kill you tomorrow. My response when I did my own work would be, I know that's how you feel right now. It won't always feel this way. So that's my version of fake it until you make it.
Mm.
I can't tell my body, no, you should feel safe. We
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
safe.
That's kind of what
Because
I
my
was
body
getting
is
at. I
like,
didn't want to give like a
oh,
false hope piece. I wanted to make sure we
exactly.
really understood that. Yeah.
Exactly. So when I can come in for my body, just like I did for Miguel, I can see you don't feel safe right now. And I can see that what I know how to do doesn't seem to be helping you right now. I get it. It's okay. It's going to be okay. I'm not giving up. We will figure this out together.
Mm.
And that way I'm acknowledging the disconnect. I'm acknowledging the continued sense of fear.
Yeah.
I'm not faking it,
Mm. It's
but
okay
I'm
to not have
also,
it figured out.
it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay to not have it all figured out.
Mm.
It's okay to say, I don't know what you need right now. I can tell that you need something from me and I don't know what it is. So, ah, I'm just going to be with you for right now. Even though I can feel that this heated water thing is not really your jam right now. It's all I know how to do for you. It's all I know how to do for you right now. But I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
Mm.
And I'm going to learn how to connect with you better. I'm going to learn how to support you better. It's what I want to do for you.
And I'd imagine we can say those words to ourselves.
Exactly.
Mm.
This is how to shift our inner state for ourselves.
Mm.
That's the new self-talk that I would love every person to start doing.
Yeah.
Not to have the pressure of knowing everything about your anatomy and the science, but just to be at the place of, I want to learn more. I want to learn more how to connect with you. I want to learn more how to make you feel safe because I can see how unsafe you have felt for so very long. And I am so very sorry.
Oh, Aimie, I feel like everyone across the interwebs right now is just getting their own soothing little dose of we got this. It's you have
We
just such
got
a
this.
beautiful way of inviting people, I think. That's really what it is. For me, I'm getting a real sense of an invitation to care and to not necessarily have all the answers attached to that sense of care. Because I think that's what it is. I really care. So I'm going to do the protocols and the things, and I'm going to learn all the things. And it's all in the mind then. We stay in the mind and not the mind body. And I think the unknown piece, that we don't have it all figured out, that's often the body.
And needing to know everything,
Mm.
needing to have everything figured out is a trauma response.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No. Yep.
If your listener was not convinced yet that they had trauma, that
Mm.
will be the final clincher for them. The
Mm-hmm.
need for us to have things figured out.
Yeah.
That uncertainty, being uncomfortable with uncertainty, is a trauma pattern.
Mm. Which explains the world right now beautifully, in fact.
Explains so
Yeah,
much.
everyone's trying so hard to be so
Yes.
sure of how it
Yes.
should be, and
Exactly.
for me, it honestly looks like an escalating trauma pattern out there.
It is.
I'm just like
It
I'm
is.
inviting us to just not subscribe.
Not subscribe. That's a great way to put it.
Mm.
I'm choosing to live my life and create my environment with safety.
But I also don't want to say something like that and have it then mean I don't care about what's happening in the world.
Absolutely.
No, it's
Right.
more
No.
about actually actively participating in a new story for the world.
Exactly.
That's really what I
Exactly.
think we often miss in the spiritual
Right.
conversations. You know, I often hear like the spiritual guru people and think, oh, well, isn't it a privilege for you to not care what happens politically, and to be above politics? Like, because that is not helpful for anyone, to not have a participatory mindset. What I'm saying is active participation does not need to look like fighting. It can actually look like creating more safety in all the areas you can, starting with yourself.
Yes. And actually, disconnected,
Mm.
disengaged is a trauma pattern.
There it is. Okay. But we can't
I
re-engage
think
if we
we've
don't
covered
feel
that everyone
safe.
in the world now has trauma, right? Did we miss anybody?
Yeah, I think we have definitely confirmed that. I don't think we've missed a single soul. Um, And we start with us, and we start with
It starts
then
with
our
us.
families and our workplaces. That's how it works. But we actually have to. I was talking with a colleague just the other day, looking at some of my business clients and thinking, everyone's scared for their job. How are we going to create wonderful things in the world if everyone's scared whether they've got a job tomorrow? That's not going to help. So there's a lot of fear on so many levels. And that's why this work is really powerful.
And most needed right now.
So one more
Yeah.
question.
I want every person to be able to create their inner safety right here, right now.
I think that's a beautiful mandate, Aimie. I have one more question. How are you and Miguel doing?
You know, he has his life, and I had him for 6 years,
Mm,
and then our lives took a turn,
yeah.
and it actually ended up being a very hard experience, and part of what then led me to my own trauma and working through grief and that
Mm,
sense of loss. And so I don't know where he is right now at this moment,
mm,
but for me, I have the assurance that I not only did my best, but that I became a much better person
mm.
as a result. And so looking back, I'm so glad I said yes.
Oh,
I'm so glad I said yes.
I'm glad you did too. Look at the work you've been able to do to share with all of us since. Thanks, Amy. I
Yeah.
really,
Thank
really
you.
valued this conversation. And I think uh, we often hear trauma conversations where people are sort of pontificating about their own lives and why they then came to do this work. But for me, the work you're inviting us to do feels a lot more personal. It feels a lot more relatable for a lot of people to pick up. And so I hope that that's what came out for our amazing listeners. But I want to just say thank you so much for showing up.
Thank you. And thank you so much for the work that you do and how you show up in the world.
Thanks. Thank you for joining us in listening to this week's show. If you're not already subscribed or following the show on whatever platform you listened, please do that now. It helps enormously in terms of getting this show out to more people. Another way you can connect and support the work we do so that we can support you in your low tox life is join us in the Low Tox Club. You'll get access to amazing member masterclasses where we invite some of our best show guests for a live Q&A with members. You also have great shopping discounts from low tox businesses and honestly, the nicest low tox community Facebook group that exists on the internet. I do hope you join us there. It costs just the price of a coffee a month on average. Head to lowtoxlife.com, hit the Explore tab, and Low Tox Club is the first option there. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.